Okay, it looks like I'm live. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm just going to get my computer set up here so hopefully I can see.
It looks like I'm live. Hey.
There we go. I can see the comments. Good evening. Happy Sunday to you. This is Tara with Tara Beth Stamps. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in mid-Missouri. If you're joining me, give me a shout out. Hopefully I can get my comments to roll. Hey Rosie, thanks for joining. Today we are gonna do another fun fold, of course, because you know that's what I do. This is a card I saw on Patty Bennett's YouTube the other day, and I think she called it a double triangle fun fold. So what it is, it's got this belly band, you pull it out, and then you've got a flap there. And so I did a little bit of changes. She didn't have the flap on the card that I saw, so I thought the flap would add a little bit to it. Hey Karen, hey Mary, thanks for joining me. So this is the card we did that I'm going to do tonight. This is another one that I made last night for Christmas. So this is using the Christmas season stamp set and the seasonal labels. And I'm using the seasonal labels on today's card. And then the painted Christmas DSP. So there's just another version. The only problem that I ran into with this one, and part of the reason I'm not duplicating it, is I did these little pine boughs on it, and it doesn't make it easy to slide in and out. So it's not super user friendly for those non-card makers that it's just gonna jab it and run. So see what I mean? It doesn't want to close very easily. So I'd have to make some modifications. I'm going to set that one out of the way. So before we get started tonight, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Perfect Partners die set bundles that Stampin' Up! Has the month of September. So we're already halfway through the month. So I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing some of these sell out, specifically the Apple Harvest bundle. I think that one is absolutely magnificent. It's perfect for fall cards. Hey Susan, thanks for joining. So I think that Apple Harvest is going to be a really popular one. So these are bundles. They're stamplet sets that are either in the annual catalog or the July to December mini catalog, and they've added dies to them, and the dies are only available until September 30th. So, or while supplies last. So if you find one that you want to grab it, make sure you use my host code so you can grab that free gift from me. All right, so let's get started on tonight's card. Okay, so this is what we're doing. I'm using the teacup dies. I use the seasonal label dies. So these guys right here, I use those to layer, and then the cup of tea stamp set. And I did a lot of the stamping and die cutting ahead of time just because I didn't want to have to go back, and it makes my table shake and all that jazz. So we're gonna get started here. So the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring out a piece of, I think this is 4 by 10. Yeah, this is a piece of 4 by 10 cardstock. This is the Parakeet Party, and I scored it at 5 1/4. So I'm going to fold this in half and burnish it with my bone folder. And then we are going to take a couple of pieces of the, I'll leave it like that, the polka dotted in color DSP, the 2022-2024 in color DSP. These are 3.5 by 3.5. If I miss any questions, I'm going to grab you at the end. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining me. And if I miss any questions, I'll grab them at the end. And all of these measurements will be on my blog tomorrow. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these corners up right in the trough. And I'm going to shut it very carefully. And I'm going to get that blade out of the way because I have cut these many times by mistake because I'm not paying attention. So on this DSP, I'm going to give it a good score, but I'm going to be a little careful because I did find this is a little lighter than some of the other ones, so it will crack if you try to score it too hard. All right, I'm going to do this with the second one. I'm going to close that track. The nice thing is, once you close it, you can see through and you can line it up if it gets shifted at all. All right, so just a little burnish from corner to corner. I'll set that out of the way. I'm going to bring my bone folder in again, and I'm going to fold it from corner to corner and just give it a nice burnish. So this is a great card because it's got multiple layers, so it looks really impressive, but it's actually super easy to use. Can you see the puppies have been in my room? I've got dog hair everywhere today. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line this up, making a sandwich with these, sort of, okay? And it's really just kind of eyeballing it, making sure that you have the same amount at the top and the same amount at the bottom on each side. So I'm going to take one out, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to pull out some liquid adhesive, and I'm going to put a good amount on there. Now, I'm being careful not to get it too close to the edge, because if you get it too close to the edge, it's going to squeeze out and then it's going to seal your thing together. Okay, so I'm kind of pushing this in and sealing this down all at the same time. Okay, now I'm going to carefully do the same thing. And luckily, because this is so symmetrical, I'm going to have the same sides on the front and on the back. But I'm going to be real careful because I want to make sure that I'm gluing on the same side. Ask me why I'm careful about that. Well, that's because last night I may have had to make this twice because I sealed one on the front side. Okay, so that slid out a little bit. I'm just going to kind of line it up where my bottoms are the same. I'm going to squeeze this in because I want it to be as tight as possible. Oh, Susan, Rosie, I'm glad you like the card. Okay, now we're going to flip it over and see, there we have basically our card base. Card front, I guess. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the Sweet Sorbet cardstock from that same 2022-2024 in color DSP pack. Give it a good amount of glue. It's a thin line, but it's quite a bit. And I'm going to move it around so that I get a nice edge all around the sides. Okay, there we go. Now, this is just a regular standard piece of cardstock. I've got the Sweet Sorbet, and this is 5.5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5. We're going to line that up and glue that. So this is another good card to use some of that beautiful DSP that Stampin' Up! Has. Yeah, Mary, it's one of those mistakes. You're like, why did I not see myself doing that? So yes, you can use all of that gorgeous DSP. So one of the comments that Patty made, and I was really careful when I was choosing my patterns, is that you want sort of some colors, and you want patterns that really don't have a pattern to them. So they're not striped or, checked or whatever. Plaids kind of work because plaids kind of go whatever direction you have them facing anyway. That's why I picked just a random flower and then polka dots. That's very random. You don't have to worry about making sure that you have it turned the right way when you score it. So I'm a believer in making things being easy on yourself. So, versus making things difficult. Okay, so we're going to do a belly band, and I think I did one of these the other day, and I'm just going to show you what I like to do. So I like to line mine up along my grid paper. That way I can line my card up, and with belly bands, they're pretty easy. You don't do a lot of, precise creasing, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that they meet in the middle and it's not too tight. So I'm going to loosely fold that and then kind of give it a little bit of a press down. So basically what I have is I have a belly band that's going to overlap right there. So I'm going to unfold that, and I'm just going to take a small amount of seal and put it on there, just because seal doesn't seem to ooze, and I'm just going to be super careful not to get it too tight because I want to make sure that it's going to go up and down Oops. See what I mean? There we go. I'm going to squeeze, press that together. So that's going to go up and down pretty easily. All right. So now I have a couple of die cuts from that seasonal labels set. So I have the larger and the smaller that layer beautifully here. So you'll see that they just kind of go right in the middle of each other. It doesn't matter that I have it perfectly in the center, just because this half is going to be covered up with that teacup of ours. So before I do that, I better stamp. So I have the thank you sentiment from Cup of Tea that I'm going to stamp with Starry Sky. Here we go. Shut that ink up and set this out of the way, so hopefully I don't make a mess. I'm going to be careful to try to not get that blue dye to run. Our darker colors have a tendency, they take a little longer to dry. All right. So I'm being careful not to press around where the sentiment actually is. Okay. Now we can go ahead and adhere this to the center with just a little bit of liquid glue. I hope everybody's weather was gorgeous today. Our weather was awesome. It's warmed up again, which I enjoy. A lot of people really like the cooler, milder temperatures, but I like the nice warm weather. Okay, so I did a lot of die cutting and stamping ahead of time. So let's bring out a couple of things and we'll go ahead and adhere these things and get them ready. So if you've watched my videos before, you know that I like the adhesive sheets. I like it for these little thin pieces. I know a lot of people can take their glue and just, you know, dollop it, but I'm not that good with glue. So I like the adhesive sheets. Usually it just takes a little bit of a pull with a sharp edge. I'm going to peel that off. And then I'm going to carefully layer that on. So there's my lemon. I also did the same thing. I cut out an Orchid Oasis teacup from the matching DSP. So this is really an in color card. These colors are awesome. If you don't have them, you need them. Get everything that you can get in the in colors because it's all beautiful. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this teacup. And I usually start at a smaller area at the bottom or the top and work my way up. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to take just a small amount of liquid adhesive, liquid adhesive, and we will put it, the flowers or the leaves that I've stamped. So I stamped those in Parakeet Party. That's from that same set. And I think we're going to glue these on with dimensionals. So I'm going to kind of decide, ooh, I think you may need to move over just a scotch. Because, there we go. We're going to have to put it low on this one because I got a little bit too much on the side. We're also going to do a little trimming here to make sure it's going to fit in the envelope. Ooh, there goes that plant. There we go. No one will notice that's gone. Okay, so let's take some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to put one big long one right there and find where I like it. There we go. Now, how are we going to do this lemon? With a little bit of liquid glue. It's always weird making the same card twice because you can never get it the same way. There we go. See, we're super close to being done with this already. This is an easy breezy card. We're going to finish it off with a little bit of in color embellishments. Let's use a couple of these. Let's use a sweet sorbet up here. There we go. All right, so that's the front. That's all done. Now all we have to do is get the inside done and do our envelope, and we'll be done. Got it done quick tonight. Okay, so I'm going to stamp both of these at the same time. I'm going to bring that Starry Sky ink back out. And so you'll notice this is a really solid line. So you want to make sure that you've got ink covered all over that stamp before you stamp it down. It is a photopolymer, so if you need to, you can go back over it. But if you can get it done the first time, let's do that. All right. We'll set that out of the way. I don't think I got I did not. So on this one, I'm going to take a piece of Post-it note and I'm going to line it right up there at the top. Hey Karen, thanks for joining. And I'm going to ink this up with some Parakeet Party and just do a small leaf coming out of our coffee cup or teacup. I'm going to reuse that Post-it note. You could also use Stampin' Up's mask paper, but on something that's just a clear line like this, I'm going to save that for something that I can cut around. All right. Now let's get this glued on the inside. So I'm going to pull my belly band off, flap this open, and adhere a little bit of a liquid adhesive. There we go. And there's your card. A really pretty card that's got a little bit extra there. Belly band's not wanting to come down there. There we go. All right, now let's glue some DSP on the outside of our envelope and we will be done. Oh, Karen, I love these colors too. The end colors are my favorite. Thanks, Mary. I'm glad you liked it. All right, so don't forget about the Perfect Partners that are on sale. We also have week 3, I believe it is already, on the September deals of the week. So there'll be another one come out on Thursday, I believe it is. My host code, if you spend over $50, you've got your free gift coming from me. So make sure you utilize that as well. It's a perfect time to come in and get those dies from the Perfect Partner set, as well as a couple of sale items. All right, so there's today's card. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I will see you again here next week for another card tutorial. Have a good one. Bye.